Bon Jovi will shorten that, and I'm not sure I like it as much.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have the same catch.
Doesn't have the same gravitas.
No gravitas.
No gravitas.
You know what? Maybe
Truncated
he's a minimalist.
penal
Now.
colony punk.
Yeah, we don't need minimalism here.
So it's like a 20-second thing.
Penal colony.
30 seconds. And I'm just not, I think I like the old one better. All right,
Yeah.
greetings, everyone. Welcome to Thursday, August 18th.
Hello.
It's 9:03 at night, and continuing in our All Hail Ben is Dead series of events.
Allegedly.
We decided to do a...
No, he's dead.
Oh, he's
not
dead.
an alleged at this point.
dead,
He's
he was-
dead.
And
You
so
know,
we decided to continue with our...
was
Can
it
I
like-
just do an, let me just do an opening. Let me just...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so what we decided to do tonight, we originally started out with doing one of the Howard Stern on demand shows called Meet the Sterns, and then Arm sent me a bunch of things to intersplice with it, like the E show where he went home and stuff like that. We have some great clips of Gilbert roasting them, and I also have a couple of pieces of audio so that we can once again talk about the vitriol and hate that came out spewing out of Howard's mouth when his father was on his deathbed. Do I have a Whiskers moment? Babe,
You do?
do I?
It's been sent to you. I don't know if you
Wait,
want
how'd you send it to me? I don't even remember.
I emailed
Carrier
it to you.
pigeon.
I had a Whiskers moment for us. Shit.
You do.
Snail mail.
It's just.
Right now.
Let me check my email. It should still be there.
Um,
We're running with the shadows.
That's-
yeah, we were just singing Pat Benatar before we came on here. I don't know
Yes,
why.
you can't prove that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hold on.
copyright. We got it. The Benatar people sent us a copyright. They're
Just like that.
hardcore.
Boom. They're on it.
We thought you might be listening. Here's a copyright.
Do-do.
Okay, I think I have it. Hold on, I'm gonna download it, and then we'll have it for the show. Should we end with that? I'm thinking that people aren't really paying attention by the end of our show.
It's
You know,
on the 14th. I'm sure you found it though. You said you found it, so.
I got it. I'm downloading it right
Is
now.
that whiskey Canadian, Dennis? Says G Canada.
No.
Do you
it
know?
Hello,
I got some
everybody.
commentary about
It
you
is
drinking on
Kentucky.
air.
So.
I'm just
okay.
saying. I'm just telling you.
No,
I'm
you
just
might
saying.
Face it, Dennis. I'm jealous.
You're light. You're over. You're being blown out. You might want to lower your light a little.
Me or her?
Oh, that you know why? That's because I have like 4 screens open right now. So give me a
Okay,
second.
gotcha.
4 screens.
Gotcha.
Trying to download Whiskers.
It's a
Hello, everybody.
delicious
Hope everybody's
Kentucky
having a
rye.
great summer
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff.
All that jazz.
Oh, JP,
All right,
you
let me
unload his
shut
nuts.
this now. Oh, I see how bright and overmodulated I am. Okay, I mean over.
Yeah, well, that would be.
You're
awesome.
right, you're everything.
just
I
blown.
just shut off the. I had my email on and everything. All right, everybody. So,
Every time's the
yes.
first time.
Okay, everybody wants Arm to sing us out at the end of the show. Perhaps he will.
Yay.
Some, little bon mot of deliciousness.
I could sing Pat Benatar as Ben Stern. Pat Ben Sternatar.
Wait,
Ben
I'm all
Sternatar.
for that. I'm all for that.
Absolutely.
If we were listening to Pat Benatar medleys, guys, before we went on, so that's what we got caught up in the.
Well, what we
Miss,
realized
Miss
is
Lindenhurst.
Shadows of the Night has both Bill Paxton and Judd Reinhold in it.
Judge Reinhold,
Kind
right?
of crazy.
NVIDIA.
Oh,
Didn't
Judd
know it
has-
at the time. Didn't know it. I know it just.
It has.
I learned something today.
Yeah,
It has
see,
better
You know
actors.
people.
It has
I
better
know that
actors
Chet
than
was in
Private
that video
Parts.
too.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so Radio Gaga wants you to sing "You Will Never Walk Alone."
I did
Oh,
that.
jeez.
already. I can do it again.
Isn't that the song that guarantees a copyright strike?
Oh my God, definitely! And I'm still
Yeah.
looking for that video. I can't believe I can't find it. I have a video of
Oh,
Mr. Whiskers.
it's still MIA.
Yes,
I know I have it in one of my hard drives, but it's like like
Says it a
20
million
million porn
Yeah.
videos, and
Always
then that
does.
one video. It's gonna be hard to find.
Who am I, Phil? Who am I, Phil Panzerino over
It's amongst the
here?
porn. Is that what you're telling me? Fuck.
Yes, yes. You know, there's a lot of people who are related that do pornos. It's really weird.
What?
And I always find that like, if
My
you're a
cousins?
stepmother, never get your hand caught between the couch.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's like a thing. Don't ever do that.
Don't ever get stuck in the dryer either.
Yeah,
Don't get stuck
exactly.
in a
Never get your hand
dryer.
stuck in the dryer of your stepmom.
Yeah, don't ever do that. That's bad.
Like, oh, I can't get my hand out.
That
Hey,
sock
hey,
is
hey
so
Todd, you want to
far
help me?
Also in the sink, I think is a bad
The
place
sink,
too.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a good
Like
one.
retrieving something from the garbage
Or
disposal.
plumbing, or something in the
Or
plumbing. Is
where
something
you're
going
compromised,
on
like you're stuck bent over, and
Wait.
your son-in-law just happens to be there.
because you're wearing a half inseam short
Yes.
shorts, right? With no underwear on underneath.
No wonder, of course.
That's
Tiger
how-
Lily, that can't be proven.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
What? Serious whiskers? I'm shook. Don't tell anybody. And sometimes he'll leave me a voicemail and he won't even say, "Hey, it's me, call me back." He'll just sing something as Whiskers. And I have saved everything. He probably doesn't know this, but I have saved
It's like a tidal wave.
I have saved every single one of them because they're all more ridiculous than the next. All right, so we're gonna start our Ben and
the
Ray
show.
Yeah, there's something like a show going on right
anyway,
now.
Oh, forgot all about it.
what was it like 2 days ago? I actually did, Howard Stern dad and did a search result on news. There's like maybe a fistful of articles of people that gave a shit about his dad being dead.
I
Like
think
literally,
it's still not
nobody
really
cares.
proven. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
wait,
bro. But I mean, if it was anybody else's famous father, it
Right.
would have been all over the fucking place.
Yeah, but here's the proof in the pudding. He hasn't refuted any of it. It's actually been on real news things, and
He
it's
wants it to
not
go
been
like
refuted at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just in mentioning,
Well,
so
like we said, he wants
It's
us
really
all to be a
weird.
buzz. So
it's
there's that.
disturbing, actually.
But it's a throwaway line in the Steppin' Out magazine of Southampton.
Stepping Out magazine.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
he thinks
basically
he's
what it is.
too
You're exactly right.
cool. Like Monique, you had a great comparison to the Doctor Doom thing. It's like this, but you're too cool for school. And he's certainly not. Would it surprise any of you if he just simply didn't mention it? Dennis, we rattled it all off. His grandchild,
Yeah.
Artie, blah blah blah. Why would this be any different?
Because
If-
this actually is a little more part of the show than all those other things.
Not only it's 50% of the show. It's the only thing he's got.
Yeah.
It's the most.
It's been
beat to
most of the
death-
show this year.
Exactly. But, so,
I mean,
For all we know, he
All
could have died
of those
3 months
articles
ago.
are written by an AI, right? So they just pick up the
I
newsfeed.
don't
not
doubt
all
it.
of them. No. There was news articles that were written by like ABC or who else did I see it from? It was like actual real news sources, and they actually had stories on it.
Really?
But all they did was copy from what he said in there that he had passed away.
Bro,
There was nothing else.
Lady Gaga's French bulldogs being kidnapped was 1,000 times more
Oh,
fucking
absolutely.
news than
It's
this.
all so weird, as you would expect. There's nothing. Can't just own it.
But if he was alive, 100% they would have said something by now.
Exactly.
They're not going to let
As
someone
soon
else
as
get
he said,
Tiger Lily's perfect. Tiger Lily's perfect. That's what's going to happen. Marianne will call in.
Oh yeah, good call.
Yeah, and that's I had heard. I'm sorry about your loss. Oh, Jesus Christ! I can already hear it now.
I'm so sorry about what happened to you over the summer. Is everything okay? Are you and Beth okay? Is your family okay? I just want to know everybody's okay. Oh, fuck off, all of you. Because you know what? It's anticlimactic now, and maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe he didn't.
We said the worst thing that could happen for him that died in the middle of summer.
Yeah, well,
what little content he could have pulled from it is.
Or he can just duck it. I mean,
And
two
you know what?
massive. Go ahead, Mike.
They're going to do a best of. They'll do some sort of best of, and by the way, ours will be a better best of because
It already is.
we won't talk
But
about
you're right.
flowing,
Right.
flowery.
Rob said, "Really? I didn't know this."
Oh my
Well, how about the Gary puppets of the world though, following Howard's third cousin in Rockville, right? So wouldn't you think he'd have to have a gag order on the entire There's no chatter at all amongst the people, their family on Facebook. You know what I mean?
No,
like it's almost like
he has
they're
a
all
gag order
shut
on them.
down.
You know what? I guarantee.
Somewhat does.
I guarantee you, it was like this. Email goes out. Anybody talks about this, they're fired.
Or
totally.
Don't talk about it on social media. Period. Full stop.
Absolutely.
Keep this amongst us. We'll leave it until I'm back on
Think
air.
how psychotic this is for his 3 daughters. That's their grandfather. I mean, and the oldest one's 40 years old. The oldest one knew her grandfather for 40 years.
How about the
that's a weird
hypocrisy,
thing.
Dennis?
When my father
It's
died,
sick.
I don't think I said a single thing on the
But you're
forum,
no.
on
but
air.
you're a different generation.
know,
Is it
but
going to
what I'm
bring him
saying
back
is
if you post it on Twitter? You know, is it going to have
Yes.
some social media
Well, you
reincarnation?
you gotta remember who we're thinking about, though. We're thinking about Emily, who's sings super Jewy songs, and I mean, she would probably want to do a thing, and
Yeah.
she can't. I mean, it's got to be killing her. It's got to be killing her at this.
And you know she's got that song in the bank. You're my shetta, it's my ulka, snatchkota.
How does this stack up against J.D. Harmeyer's announcement of his engagement on Twitter? Remember that shit? And I
he
try
was
like hell not to bring JD
apoplectic
up. Is there
about
anything
that.
worse than blurbing your dad's death in the Steppin' Out magazine of Southampton?
No,
That's a
No,
throwaway
absolutely not.
line. That's a
but
throwaway line.
he meant to do that.
Oh, I know. I
Look,
think
there was no
everything's
follow-up.
deliberate.
He meant
Everything's
to do that.
intentional.
I think
Everything's
that's more about
calculated.
he likes to
I
berate
know.
his fucking employees. That's all.
Just
I'm
like every follicle, every syllable is calculated.
Manicured.
all right,
Perfectly
so we're gonna
manicured.
start our little shit show now.
Oh,
And hold on, I don't think I have it up yet, but let me just throw whiskers in at the end
Zuza,
here. So
zuza,
that
zoo.
That kills me every time.
okay. Oh my god, I love this stupid whiskers thing. All right, so let's get started. So
Fudgesicle goes, what if Howard went to Anne Heche's funeral but not his own dad's? Classic Fudgesicle.
I think that Howard's sister has a professional social media, but anything other than that, we are not privy to. So okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna pull our Howard stuff together now, and we are going.
Hey Mo,
Yeah, babe.
I wasn't here for the band tribute, and he did mean a lot to me. Can I do a 5-second little tribute to him, please?
Sure. Okay, babe.
Monique,
Okay.
yes.
Rest,
Windows
Okay.
open in
I
1712.
really,
rest in strength, my brother.
I'm waiting for my dogs to lift me in a chair and put me in the house.
Are we gonna be also going over Fiddler on the Roof after this?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
you know we are.
Oh yeah. All right. So we're gonna
Duh.
the Sterns. And so this was something that was on Howard Stern on demand. Do you remember the year of this, Johnny, by any chance? How long will it take Howard to announce it if Ronnie died?
That's
Depends on if it's on a holiday.
Shaka Khan was just phenomenal scenarios she poses.
Thank
She
you,
really
Shaka
does.
Khan.
That's a
Yes.
phenomenal question.
$5.
It would be like a month after, maybe.
Okay, so this is you talk about George Flowers.
I'm talking about George
Monique?
Flowers.
Okay, so this is in between Sirius and terrestrial. So they were
2006
doing
then.
shows. Howard couldn't do shows on Sirius until that date. So they were doing these special shows, and this was in between the launch to Sirius and terrestrial.
Right. So the weird thing about this particular show on demand is that for some bizarre reason, his parents were under the guise that this was going to be like a weekly thing
Oh,
or
yeah.
something
Yeah.
where people would call in and ask questions. But it's really the only time other than that Hein one that you sent me,
Yeah,
which I
there's just two.
think we need to save for another time. But he he only did it twice. What were you chuckling about, Dennis? I need to know what.
All right, so two masters. This ain't Memorial Services magazine, pal.
So this is us
Sorry.
just having a little preamble to the show, and this is us, I guess, getting to know his parents as if we didn't know who they were.
Right.
I decided to give my parents a show because I always thought they were really entertaining. My father is really good with politics. He's good with sort of a common sense approach to life.
I am Ben Stern, Howard Stern's father, naturally, and I'm here to help bring Howard's new show to the public, and in any way I can cooperate, I'm here to.
I'm sorry. What year is this then?
He's 82 years old here, Monique. I just did the math in my head.
He's
Subtract
82.
17 from he's 82. This is,
Okay, because I love your
winter of-
observation from the previous
Yeah.
one. Talk about
You
that.
got that? Okay. Yeah.
My mother's a great sidekick. She laughs at everything he says.
Hi, I'm Howard Stern's mother, Ray Stern,
She
and
looks
I'm
just
here
like
to
him, by the
do
way. He looks
show for Howard. He asked us to come in and do it, and we're delighted to do it for him.
You'll see the dynamic between them. He bosses her around. She tells him to, oh, please. So that's why I decided to give them a show of their own.
We'll
It's not a show.
be going on the air in a few minutes, and I hope you enjoy it.
Meet the Sterns on In Demand.
Good evening, all. I'm George Flowers, Howard 100 News. Of course, this is indeed a very special
He's dead too, right?
evening. The next hour dedicated
Is George Flowers dead?
responsible
I think
for
he
the
is.
I don't know.
success of
Yes.
Howard Stern. In fact, he would not be here at all.
Flowers just pushing up daisies.
If Howard is the king of all
Oh.
media, at my left side, Ray Stern is the queen mom. Mrs. Stern, Howard's mother. Ben Stern, Howard's father. Both are here in the studio with me. Mr. and Mrs. Stern, indeed an honor to share the microphones here at Howard 100 with you.
Oh, it's really not that big of a fucking honor.
It's
Let's
really
be-
not. It's really not.
Really
No.
they gave them so much like fluffery and puffery. So this was at the Sirius XM studios.
This
Uh,
is yes.
I'm just assuming Howard was not on air.
I
at-
believe it was a Thursday night at 7:00.
Mm-hmm. I listened
So
to
they
this live, actually.
Limo
You know,
got him and stuff and brought
I've
him
never
in.
seen Flowers before. I'm looking at him and I want
Right?
to go, no, you're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
The title is they did so much for him and unfortunately created a man with severe personality disorders, had everything he wanted at all times, but good looks.
But good looks, and that's what
Yeah,
he
he
cares
was
about
a
is
spoiled
vanity.
boy, and you're going to see as we go through these clips, where his parents to
How
kind of
about
like.
you?
I was going to ask you that, and what
Was.
you don't realize, his sister Ellen's 5 years older than he is,
Yeah.
and which he doesn't bring up, and that's a pretty big disparity when you're growing up. Like that older siblings out of the house, and you're getting more gushing than you would have been being the youngest
How
child
old-
anyway.
Does anybody know how old Ray was when she gave birth? Because
Let's do the
Um,
math.
was she like
How old is
on
she
the
now?
older side?
She's 2 years younger than.
Let's
no,
say
she's
she's 96 and he was 66. That would mean that she was 30 when she had him.
But
So
actually,
she's
he's
like
older,
97 to
69.
67.
Okay, because I mean, the
He's
older
not
you get, the more likelihood of getting
Hey.
gestational
Oh,
diabetes,
he's not
which would
60
explain his freakish
he's 68.
size.
Maybe 28-ish. Maybe she
28-ish.
was.
Oh, okay.
Ben's
isn't that late.
30. Ben's 31 years older than Howard is, and the mom's
Hmm.
younger, and Ray's younger.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like
All right,
she's in her
so-
late 20s.
Let's go through a couple of
okay,
these.
okay.
Good. Let's
Okay.
Just a
Thank
thought.
you very much.
Thank you.
Let's give the listeners some background about the Stern family. Mrs. Stern, we'll start with you.
Well, my childhood, I grew up in New York.
In New York City, per se?
In New York City,
huh?
born and bred, all New York. I'm a product of New York, and I'm proud of it. My mother passed away when I was 9 years old, so I was pretty much an orphan. And I had a sister, an older sister, and we were very close. And we went to the public schools in New York. We were both products of New York. I met Ben in New York.
And Mr. Stern, let's talk about you, your childhood. Where were you from?
Well, I was born 46 streets below this address.
1772.
Manhattan. And what I remember about that time was the Great Depression, because most of the listeners haven't lived through that point.
No,
I'm
we
four
didn't,
score and
Ben.
2 years old. Everybody doing math? And I always remember that very vivid in my mind. I always remember people's furniture on the street because they couldn't pay the rent, and they just would move you out into the street. And I remember going to school, and my parents, didn't want to take home. Give us a coupon. We got
Stories of her horrible life have definitely affected me. I take on their sadness. You would think I
Better
lived.
than Howard's show now, Monique. I'll tell you that.
You would think I grew up.
Touche.
You're being a little too
in that
critical.
truth. You would think that my father had no money and had to, beg, borrow, and steal in the streets. I don't know. I relate more to their stories than I do my own, and I feel profoundly sad.
Sure you do.
No, you don't. No, you
Yeah,
don't.
let's-
Sociopath.
Beautiful feeling.
Can we see how profoundly sad he is?
Oh, that's. I thought Ray was going to talk about
Adam,
not
I'm going
having
to ask you a couple of questions. You answer incorrectly, the cash flow stops. You're going to have to dip into your own bank account.
no food.
No food for you. I feed them, I clothe them, I house them, I put a roof over their heads. But now I get to abuse them. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, that's the way it works. That's the way it works, Howard. You get to abuse them.
Yeah.
Fuck. Sorry, I intersplice things in this because I'm just,
It's
you
all
know,
good.
he
I'm
comes
waiting for the.
in and
That
You
I'm
clip
waiting
know,
makes
for
me
the
so
clip
angry. It
where
makes me so angry.
Ben talks about
It-
the kosher meal on the Mayflower.
yeah, no, he won't be
Let's talk
going
a
into
little bit
that.
about Howard as a boy. Any really good, juicy Howard stories when he was growing up?
I always admired him because he was interested in what you want to call it showbiz. Of course, I built him a puppet stage, and we used to go to Europe. When we came back from
used to go to
England
Europe.
or so, there
Wow.
was
Like your parents.
and he would put on shows. I mean, some of them were a little sexual, but listen.
The child shows, you know, it evolved sort of into a sexual thing. They were always really nice shows. For a while, I would go to old age homes and I would give puppet shows. I was taking courses in puppetry in terms of building actual puppets. So I had a real serious
Yeah,
thing with it.
okay.
But as I got older, I just lost interest. So it became more
Most people
sexual.
call that jerking off into a
Yet
sock.
another thing that his father indulged him in. He took courses
He
in.
took him to Europe
So-
several times.
No, they
That's right,
went
they
to
went to
Europe several
England.
times and would bring puppets back for him. Is what
I mean,
Yeah.
don't you relate to it? We all had our own sock puppets.
We all-
So
Absolutely.
this is
Yeah.
Every parent had you.
so this
Yeah.
is why Howard has to have an instructor for everything at
Yes.
this
Yeah,
point.
it started
Because
here.
his parents
Started
totally
here.
indulged
And what
him.
would happen is I had a young girl puppet, a pirate, a sailor, a horse, a bunch
you
of
had
other
Beth
things
Early.
too. But those guys primarily mixed it up. It always it just got sicker and sicker. It was either the sailor would come see the girl, the pirate and the guy would fight over the girl. Someone would be screwing the girl. Sometimes the horse would get involved screwing the girl.
Naturally.
It was that kind of
Of
stuff.
course.
Exactly. Here we go. Hang on.
Boys for.
I guess she's retired. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
doing
like,
anything for him anymore.
Yeah, I remember when my mother stopped cooking. She told my father, "I'm retired. We'll go out to dinner." Now she's retired from caring about him. I'm now his wife, and he's in big trouble.
I can't imagine why
I
the show
think
didn't
I
last
care
more than
all
one
that
episode.
they do themselves. 'Cause I'm a sucker.
Oh,
No, you're
two
not a
X.
sucker. You just
I'm a good
know
son.
more than they did, and you have a heart.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Oof.
douchebag.
Oh, I hate both of them so much.
I know it's horrible, right? I hate every single one of these clips that I saved, and I saved it just for this moment so that we can discuss them as he's talking about what amazing parents, or not talking about what amazing parents they are. Howard is spewing that John Bradshaw's inner child therapy bullshit that was huge in the 90s. Blame everything on your parents and keep giving money to the therapist because the child is never healed.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what? I think a lot of it is just something, you know, the way back in the day there were all these like nurseries and stuff like that where they would say that the people running it were like possessed by the devil, and they were able to like convince children that these were like devil worshippers, and they would like drink blood in the bag.
Oh, those daycares that all those guys that were
Yes, and it was
railroaded.
all
Yeah, I
suggestion.
remember
It was
that.
all
When I was a little
suggestion.
kid. Yeah, that was a big
Right.
fucking deal.
And so Howard is only as good as his audios of his father saying, "Shut up, sit down." Like, do you
Right.
really think that happened at home, or that was just like,
No.
you know, in the heat of the moment where he took you into work, I might add, so that you could
Yeah.
play around and fuck around with all the equipment. But this is what he holds on to.
That's literally the worst thing he got said to him in his entire childhood. I think we've all been
Oh my
paraded
God.
far
Oh,
more than that. In
absolutely.
any given week, that's the worst
Any
thing
given
that's happened.
Sunday.
Yeah, I mean,
So
to
true.
truly put the shut up, sit down into context, he had taken his family into his studio on I think it was a Sunday. And Howard, and they're all in there, and Howard is screwing around, acting like a little brat. And finally, after God knows how long, because they played most of the tape,
Exactly.
Ben finally lost it and
Mhm.
just like, shut up, sit down.
It wasn't even done with
Yeah.
malice, Dennis.
No,
He
it's
had
just
like a
like, shut
little
up and sit
tongue-in-cheek
down.
tone to his voice.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's
It's
what
just-
goes unnoticed, is that it's not even done with malice.
Yeah,
That's
no, it's
exactly
just
right.
like, all right,
But
you're
in
being bad.
his
Like,
ridiculously slow mental brain, it was bad.
Yeah,
It was
of course.
just really probably the worst, like the seminal moment of his life is that his father said that to him, and he has harbored that and lived with it. Plus his mother's, you know, alleged overbearing
Well,
personality is what makes him who he is today.
I believe the overbearing part of that.
Oh, I
because
agree. I agree.
He's so
I-
much
I-
younger than
I
Ellen.
agree. She was a smother mother for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely.
For sure. Okay, Fudgicle says to Tiger Lily, agree, but Howard's twisting the John Bradshaw philosophy. The goal is to identify parental dysfunction so you can forgive and move on. Howard got stuck in the blame bitch mode. That's right.
Well, yeah.
Never
or
moved on.
professional victim. to paint
Oh.
yourself as a victim in every
That's
situation.
100% right.
Or quite honestly, he
100%.
did move on and he didn't admit it to us because it makes for good radio for him. I don't know. Is that what the case is?
No.
Third
No,
Pete
That's
Stewart,
smart enough.
get
you
it
know
out,
what?
get it out, get
You
some
think about the
perspective.
Mr. Whiskers
Go
bit.
for it, let
I
it go.
mean,
Yeah, you're right.
it's not shtick. The dude is really just kind of fucked in
He's
the head.
disturbed.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
First question that I have from Howard, he says that when he was born, the doctor used the word mongoloid. What is that all about?
Oh,
What is that about?
well, I took him for
Later.
his first visit to the doctor, and he was a good baby. And the doctor said, and laughing and happy, and he said, he looks like a mongoloid. He's such a happy baby.
I don't know that I was happy as an infant. I was probably just smiling.
That says it all,
When
doesn't it?
babies have gas, they smile.
This was your first son. You'd had the daughter prior to. How many years separate them?
They're about 4
4 and a
years.
half years.
4.5 years.
All right, that's
You
not
had a
tragic.
son. How did it feel? Mr. Stern, let's go to you on that.
Well, the first thing I did is I want to make sure that he got the right name.
Right.
So my wife wanted to call him Harvey. I didn't want Harvey.
Don't like rabbits?
And I said I want Howard.
He doesn't have the best teeth. You think his son would,
No.
they weren't blessed with good teeth, those Stearns.
Where was-
Howard
where was
actually had
Bob?
those shitty teeth too, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Where
did.
was-
So the first thing is after she gave birth, I said, did you give him the right name?
I think life as Harvey Stern would have been horrible. I think the only name worse than Howard is Harvey. In fact, Howard is just not a cool name. I think I've helped to make it a little bit better of a name. I mean, who do you know as Howard? Howard Sprague from Andy of Mayberry.
No.
Howard Cosell. I
Very
mean,
cool.
there's not a
Coolest
great
broadcaster
history
in
of
history.
Howards.
Howie Mandel.
Life as Harvey would have been 10 times worse than as Howard.
Harvey Keitel. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel.
Okay, so then we go on to talk about piano lessons, and I have a jump to from this one. So again, with the lessons, because that's what daddies do, who love their little boys and would do absolutely anything for them, right? So here we go.
Okay, Mrs.
Absolutely.
Stern. Any stories that you can recall?
His father wanted them to have my both children. He wanted them to take music lessons, and Ellen, my daughter, she was very good. She did her lessons. She practiced. Howard didn't have time to practice, and so
Stupid.
the teacher said to me, "Mrs. Stern, you're wasting your money." And I said, his father wants him to take the lessons.
It just may be a coincidence, but the first piano teacher committed suicide. This is true.
My first piano teacher did not commit suicide. It was my second piano teacher that committed
Your piano
suicide. I had him
teacher.
for like 5 years.
5
He
years.
hated me. He didn't like the way I played
5
the
years
piano.
of
I
piano
never
lessons.
practiced. He used to beg my mother, I
5
want to
years.
quit. I don't
What a
want to
moron.
teach your son. I don't want your money. And my father would come home and say to my mother, I don't care. You tell him he's got to teach my son. I want my son to know piano. It's important. My mother would hide in the bedroom and make me pay him. And every once in a while, he would be looking for her, the piano teacher, to say, I don't want to teach this kid. Finally, I don't know what happened. He stopped teaching me. My second piano teacher, who worked at the school where I went to, nice guy, quiet guy. He taught me for a while. And then when he killed himself, I got out of piano.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second because I'm going to jump to my next clip, which is from the E show. And here's my thought on it. So you're going to listen to Howard actually playing the piano. And then we're going to talk about the fact that I guess he needed to teach himself guitar because piano wasn't quite cool enough
Yeah.
to be like one of the hip kids. So even though this Nerdlestein can actually play piano, it's not something that that he's too fond of. So let's listen to a little bit
Was
of
he
it.
hoping the guitar would cover his face?
Right. Somehow
Yeah,
he's gonna.
exactly. I find it fascinating, actually, though, that he can actually play piano. And yeah, what good parents, extracurricular activities. I never got that. I know it's listen. I don't know how many of us grew up with this type of lifestyle.
No. You
Both hands?
were,
Not me.
if you had piano lessons,
Not like
you
this.
were privileged. There's no aspect of his life that he cannot paint himself into a victim or
First
a
of all,
martyr, no
owning a
matter
piano
how
back then.
spoiled, no
Owning
matter
a
how-
piano. That's what I was just gonna say. They
It was
had a
not
piano.
cheap.
just having a piano. Right.
Who had room to? You couldn't even fit a piano up the fucking stairs in my railroad apartment
Oh.
as a kid.
Yeah.
I had an organ in my house, but you know.
Oh, okay, an organ. It's slim. A piano.
No. It was a B3 organ. It was a full organ with.
I don't know
with
what that means, Nordestein.
Did you have a raging organ? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that also. But no, it actually has the thing to make the music too. So there's a big cabinet with it too. My mom played, but you know, I digress.
Dennis,
so we
did
had
you
room
and your
for
mom
that.
play
Did you go
four
to
hands on the
camp?
Yeah,
piano?
but did she play Baba O'Reilly?
Yeah, actually, she could. She tried to teach me. I was horrible. I have no musical talent at all.
She
but that's
she
a whole
played
different
Bill
story.
O'Reilly, and Bill threw down the steps.
No, I never took dance lessons. My sister actually went to New York Academy of Ballet, and she was an excellent ballet student. But I was never, yeah, I never had that opportunity. But whatever.
One can only imagine what Hemingway or Twain would have shown us in the house of their parents.
This house was designed as a booby trap for me. As you can see,
Look
everything
at Ronnie, man. Oh.
everything is set so that I'll bang my head into here.
Oh, stop
Good luck. Now, Mom, why would you have a house?
Because you gave me this fixture. This was from your house.
Am I generous or what? I gave this to my mother. Isn't it beautiful? It was hard to part with, to be honest with you.
You should see my head from that thing.
Do you bean yourself?
I had a full head of hair before she put that.
Yeah,
on.
look at this. It doesn't make
Look
sense.
at that. You think I don't hit that? Look.
Wow.
I don't want to. I don't want to hear.
Wow.
Wait, we had to discuss this because this is part of the earlier E show.
You're like 97, right? When is this?
John, will you tell them
This
the
is 90
observation of this?
So the first observation I had is Ben Stern is Howard's age now in this
Yes.
picture. He's 68, 69.
How crazy is that?
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
It's kind of like Alice from the Brady Bunch that we always thought was in the 90s, and she was
Nobody's
like
young
our
back
age
then.
now. So it's like just insanity to me that
Holy
he was
crap.
as Howard's age.
By the way,
can tell by the hair.
just the flat
As bald as
observation.
Howard.
How great are these parents on the fact that they'd even let him film this shit here because he's too terrified of his own fucking personal life to let him shoot it in his own goddamn house. So he forces his parents to do this special. This is supposed to be at his house. And how
Look at Ronnie, man.
You saw them doing,
Yeah,
they
Ronnie,
get on
wait.
stage
Like
and
a
talk
bushy
for him.
porn star.
What parents?
Ronnie,
Yeah,
Ronnie
exactly.
looks like a
That's what-
70s penis with glasses.
He's a 70s porn star. That's
Literally-
classic.
No,
Right?
Ronnie
he looks like a 70s penis with sunglasses.
Ronnie looks like the guy that runs the shady strip club in your town.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did, though.
Seriously.
Look at
Totally.
him, man.
Barry
Looks like to
back
catch a
hockey hair.
predator.
Wonders money
Did
on
you
the
bring-
side.
Did you bring the beers and condoms?
All right, let's listen to Howard.
I don't want to. I don't want to hear.
Wow.
that.
I took piano lessons. Got 5 years of piano lessons. Maybe I can perform something for you in my
It's a
parents'
great
house.
wig.
I call this Twilight Zone.
Look at those.
Oh, here he missed. Yeah, he messed up earlier.
And it all goes on and on and on.
I'm so proud of him when he plays that.
Yeah, how many years did I take
Yeah,
lessons?
I think I spent $15,000 on piano lessons.
Yeah, 5 years. I took
Right,
piano
and it's
lessons.
very nice. I'm very proud of him. Listen.
There
Oh my
is
God, Tiger Lily, you beat me to it.
in New Orleans. Beautiful, it's rising sun. It rules how many of a boy and Lord,
It's horrible.
I know.
It's bad, but
I've been
it's
trying to get my money back that I spent on
It's
the
got
piano lessons. He refuses to give me
Yeah,
any.
there it is.
There's
And
no
that's
way
what,
he's
that's what I
Howard's
learned.
age in this.
And my piano teacher killed
I'm
himself.
telling you, Monique.
Yeah, he is.
Beg
Exactly
you every
Howard's
day
age
that
on this.
wow.
please release him from teaching me piano. The guy didn't even want to teach me.
So, okay, now that are you listening to how he conflated two stories right now?
Yes.
Yes.
So the piano teacher died, but it was his first piano teacher that
And he
begged.
begged you every day that please release him from teaching
Right.
me piano. The guy didn't even want to teach
And
me
then the
piano.
man committed suicide.
He really did.
But I thought it over and I said, look, he's got to go on with his lessons.
Yeah. Here is the bed that I actually pleasured
Yes.
myself at night. And this is the first bed
What,
that
what a
I,
tortured child. Look at this huge room. All
the
for
first
a
girl I
child.
ever slept with, right here on this bed.
Okay, I
I
have
slept
questions.
with a woman in.
So, at what age did he move to Rockville Placenta?
He was not in 15 or 14.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
young.
Not a day in high school. He was all Rockville Center High School.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Dave
right,
was
The
not
first
even
girl I
there.
ever slept with, right here on this bed. I seduced her on my father's apricot brandy, but they were out of the house. My mother took a job, and I got a girl up here, and I begged her for about 2 hours to sleep with me, and she eventually did. And it lasted all of 1 minute. And this was my desk where, of course, I ignored my homework. You see that? Isn't that a lovely desk? A man can really sprawl out on that desk and really learn his lesson in life.
Yeah.
Monique, sometimes
Wow.
Tiger Lily shares a brain with us, and she said exactly what I was about to. You see those Marfan hands on the piano, not a day's manual labor in his life. I mean, there's
Those
not
hands
a
are like
callus,
veal.
nothing,
Oh,
right?
right.
Those
That's
veal
like baby
hands.
skin. That's
Yep.
exactly what that is.
And
It's
he's
like softer than a baby's ass. Not a callus. Not a
No.
Nothing.
nothing.
he's 39 there.
Not a hangnail. There's nothing. There's nothing going on
He's
there.
never chipped a nail in his life.
Never.
Seriously.
Traumatic childhood, right? Anne Heche, right? Anne Heche had the most fucked up childhood known to mankind. Yeah, Howard's got nothing on her, and I guarantee you, she didn't go through half of the psychotherapy that this asshole goes through on a
She went
3
through a
times
house.
a week basis. It's
Now,
kind of
Katie Aldana, that's exactly right. He refused to film it at his house in Old Westbury. He wouldn't even
same
let
thing.
the.
Yes,
So they had
same
the
thing like
Stearns.
comedians in cars getting coffee, where
exactly
he
right,
came out
Monique.
of his hairdresser's
Tony Coburn's
brownstone
Brownstone, right?
instead of his own home, as if everybody doesn't know where he lives. It's just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
G
off
Canada.
as a club baby seal.
I got your baby seal.
Magical says, imagine your parents keeping your childhood room intact. When I left home at 17, my stepmother immediately converted my room into a sewing room. Fuck you,
Oh,
Howard.
I know.
Yes, hello, stepmother. Of course, I would do the exact same thing.
Well, hopefully she didn't get stuck underneath any furniture.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to to continue with the
what did High look at High Number on the bottom? Welcome High Number, by the way. I don't think I've seen you before in the chat. Because do you know the nickname for BU's basic was Coloring Book School? BU's Basic Studies.
nobody ever
Is that
said
a joke?
that Howard was smart. No, I'm sure he's
No,
right.
he's not-
13th
he's not
grade.
smart
That's
at all.
what we always called it.
That's
Okay, so I'm not sure which clip I have next, but I'm gonna play it anyway.
Fine Chug was a month after I moved out of my room. My room became an office.
Yes,
When
of
my
course.
father died, my mother was dancing on his grave, and she turned his room into. He had like a little Danny watch TV in, and she did exactly that. She turned it into just this makeshift sewing office. And
They
literally,
never
his
want you
body
back
was.
home. That's what it is. They want you out of the house and gone for good.
Never get back ever again.
Never come back. Exactly.
Never again.
Howard was a leader growing up. Children really gravitated towards him. There were 5 years difference in our age, so we really did not interplay a lot. Leader growing up. Children really gravitated towards him. There were 5 years difference in our age, so we really did not interplay a lot. This December will be 20 years since our first
20
date.
Better looking than Beth.
And we've been married.
Beth looks different.
It was 15 years in June.
15 years in June. So 15 years in June. They got married after dating each other, what, 2 years? They were both
Yeah.
in college.
78. Monique,
So she's like in
1978.
her mid 30s ish.
Yeah.
No,
Mid 30s here.
she's late 30s. Howard's 39 here.
Yeah. She's a little
Oh, right.
younger.
And they were
About the
just
same age,
similar in
yeah.
age, right? Right.
By the way, she's from New England, Massachusetts, whatever. She has a Long Island accent. It's like she needed to have a Long Island accent in order to fit
You know
in
what?
with
I
this
feel
current-
like I don't know that she was born and raised in New England.
I
She
don't know
started
that
out
either if she was
in
there the
one
whole
or
time.
I
the
don't know.
other.
From what I remember,
Yeah.
her family is from like outside of Boston, and that's where they were from.
Right?
I don't think
Carmen
they were.
Glau,
I don't think they're from Long Island.
65. It's a Long Island accent. She's
I'll
from.
give her a Boston accent. Let's hear it again. Hang on.
Okay.
Howard was a leader growing up. Children really gravitated towards him. There were 5 years difference in our age, so we really did not interplay a lot. This
Same
December
piano.
will be 20 years since our first date, and we've been married, I think it was 15 years in June.
Monique, that's Mastic Shirley. That's not
That is Mastic
Southie. That's
There's
not
a
Weymouth,
fine line between
Massachusetts.
the
That's
two, my friend,
Mastic
and you
Shirley. I don't
know
know
that.
how she. That's crazy.
You know what's great about looking at this still?
What?
Is that Beth is probably in 8th grade when this was being filmed.
Ah, good. Well, Beth's 21 here.
No.
No.
Well, no,
Yeah,
no, no, no,
93.
no, no, no,
Oh,
Oh, this is
no.
93?
Yeah, it's
18.
93.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Modeling in Europe.
No,
Yeah.
modeling in Europe without a license.
Wait, what year was this?
She's in her 4th freshman year.
What did you say this was? 90 what?
This is 93. He's
93.
promoting
93.
Private Parts of Book.
So
All right,
yeah, no, she's still in high school, bro.
Yeah.
What, the 6th year of high school?
Do you remember
No.
when they each
Still?
give him the run of the place? They'd let him have specials for anything he wanted to do. And this
It
is kinda that.
graduated.
No, I think that's right. 21. I think that's right.
It's
She's
21.
21.
It graduated in 90.
She was in 5th grade. I don't care what you say.
Okay,
Yeah,
fifth, I'll go with you, X. It's more interesting.
We can do that. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
Which I think my parents thought was a real good idea. Mucho dinero. But you thought it was kind of silly to get
The
married
same
that way
hair,
because they
so
didn't really
weird.
make any money, right?
No.
You never expressed that to me, but maybe I thought that.
No, very happy.
No, you were happy? Maybe I should have waited until I was more
I
established.
felt for the
He's
price
happy he
of
found
the
a woman.
Got you married. It was well worth it.
Well, besides, Allison was making a decent living. I figured I was on the easy street.
I was looking for someone to support you.
I couldn't believe it. Now, here is my other family. These are my in-laws, my father-in-law Bob and my mother-in-law Norma, and they have accepted me with open arms. And there I am. Every parent's worst nightmare.
Oh,
There
so
I am
cute.
with their
It's
daughter
kinda like
deflowering
if
their
your
daughter.
daughter marries
This
somebody
is my
who's like
sister's
their
wedding.
father.
I think this
She
picture is
marries somebody like
particularly
your
relevant because I had long
Stepfather.
hair in high school, always had long hair, and my parents and my sister said, you are dishonoring us with this long hair. We would like you to cut it for the wedding. I said, no, I'll wear it in a ponytail, which would be good because with the hair back in the ponytail, it'll even look like I have short hair. So anyway, they said, no, you have to get a haircut. So they made me chop my hair off. I almost look like the wedge look.
You look good. You look good.
Veronica Lake, maybe. I don't know.
Right. You look
So
good,
anyway,
Howard.
my family turned me into this.
A human being.
Tiny Tim.
Come on.
That was
Tiny
his.
Tim, bro.
Yeah, Tiny Tim. That's a good call,
Yeah.
X.
Tulips.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ. That was. I'm very confused
call.
because that picture is him in high school at his
Yeah.
sister's
Look at that
wedding.
nose.
Ugh,
Jesus.
he is a looker.
It's like a part of
I
an
look
airplane
at
fell off his
that's
face.
Sorry, ladies. It's taken.
Yeah.
I bet Ralph called Ben Dad much.
This guy makes Dee Snyder look like Kip Winger, for Christ's sake. You know?
Jesus, look at that. Make it go one more frame forward so we can get like a gander of that without that white.
Oh no, I actually clipped it right there.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
where you clipped it? Oh, okay.
I wish I
So-
think my
Fran
parents.
Lebowitz.
Sorry, I couldn't take any more of that.
Friendly
that's-
Woods. Nice.
All right, we're
Which
swinging
nose
back.
was that?
Yeah, we're swinging back to Meet the Stearns because since we just looked at Allison, and this was an interesting question that came over the air that
On the
moment.
phone, I am told the man who is
Oops, sorry.
the king of all blacks, Mr. Cowan, if I recall right. Are you on the phone?
Yes, hi.
Hi there. How you doing?
Okay.
Who would have King of All Blacks call in to their parents?
Well, it's clear he's clearly going for the Roosevelt angle here. I
Psychopath.
haven't listened to this in a while, but
Totally.
You say,
I always wanted to ask.
Is it loud enough?
Really, Howard.
yeah, good.
This question: were you upset at Howard or Allison for their breakup?
I was upset. Absolutely.
Good
At who?
stuff, Moon.
At both of them.
Right.
Breaking the news of my divorce to my parents was horrible. I wasn't even planning on doing it. I went over to see them, and I wasn't even sure I would do it. And I knew they'd be upset, and I told my mother and father. My father took it the hardest. My father looked at me and just he just put his head down, and he was like, what about loyalty? My mother was more understanding. She understood that sometimes couples don't have it anymore, and
Forget this
he kind of
again.
was less judgmental than he was.
Good
Yeah.
job, King of All Blacks, bringing the hard-hitting question. You'll never hear that
Yes,
again. Not on the
Never
show.
hear that again.
That's
Never.
why we're all taken aback by it, because there's a rare moment of honesty.
Exactly. And the fact that he
you're
would
the-
allow King of All Blacks to call in, especially
Yep.
with that kind of question, which was set up, I can't even imagine. Yeah, they
But here's-
Yeah,
absolutely
you think it would?
completely.
But
They
here's the question: what year did that happen?
Oh, I agree, Tiger Lily. They hate Beth. I couldn't agree
Oh,
more.
they just
Again,
lied
this
about
is 93 we're talking about here.
But
This is-
the
well,
when
this year's 05.
the
Oh,
nation- this is
almost 06.
2006 right now.
Like if this was real, he would have said, "How do you feel about him being married to a goy?"
Goyim.
Yisha.
A shiksa.
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 You see,
All
you
right,
see what high number writes here, Monique? Allison is born
Yeah.
in Newton, Massachusetts, which is a very Jewish part of Greater Boston. Allison is generic Metro Northeast Jew. That's a good call,
All
high
right,
number. I
Yeah,
like the way
I'll
you
take it.
hey, I
worded.
know.
I'll
I know
take
my Allison Burns. You know.
All right, let's go onward. And this is them talking about, what is this them talking about?
Just play it. We'll find out.
Eating habits. Here we go.
With that, I've got a two-part question. Mr. Stern, why were you so anal retentive about ordering in a restaurant, like pre-screening everybody what they wanted to eat? And Mrs. Stern, why, on the same line, why were you checking Howard's temperature as almost a pre-adult anally?
Answer the temperature first.
I'll answer the temperature question. There again, I hate to burst the bubble, but Howard exaggerates. When he was a little boy, the temperature was taken rectally. That's the way it was done. And the doctor told you, take the temperature rectally because it was the most accurate.
My mother would get her Vaseline and her rectal thermometer. She'd lube up the thermometer, and she'd have me lay on the bed and stick it in my ass. And then she'd leave the room for a while back and pull it out of my ass and read it and wipe off the grease. Grease would have a little funky. And she'd, 101.
Getting back to the restaurant.
More important subject.
Right. Yeah, right. Look, first of all, I had sympathy for the waiter. I mean, people go in and order, and I sit there. And
You do
break
agree,
their
John.
chops.
I know
they
you
carry
do.
on.
I do. I don't like going out to eat.
Read the menu, and
I
you
know
tell
you
them
don't.
what you want. And I find another thing I find, people get to the restaurant and they can't make up their mind. So I used to try to say, before you get there, what do you want to eat? That's not so terrible.
You have to be prepared before you go to the restaurant.
It's completely
You're not allowed
horrible.
to look at the menu if you've been
That
to
is
the
a
restaurant
horrible
before.
way to be. I
And
can't
on the
even
way
imagine.
over, he says, I know what I'm going to order. This is in the car. I know what I'm going to order. I will be getting the peas, and he starts announcing what he's getting. And my mother, and he wants to know that everyone, he's very uptight.
But Howard is the exact same way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
as
worse.
you know, he goes into Nobu, they get a 10-piece sashimi.
He's
They
calling
both
ahead,
eat that,
Monique. He's worse. He calls ahead at 4
and then
o'clock in
they
the afternoon.
eat 15
Shut the
minutes
place
later,
down.
they're
Yeah,
done.
that's
That's
right.
who he is. Jesus, I can't even imagine eating that way. John, I can't even imagine that you're that way. I
No,
peruse
I'm
the
not.
menu,
I have a guilt-ridden empathy for the wait staff.
Who
I
gives a
can't. I hate being
shit?
served.
Wait.
I
John,
don't know
you'd
what it
never
is.
be able to. You'd never be able to deal with Mo at a restaurant. It's pretty. It's pretty bad.
But she tips well.
What is
though.
this?
I was
What's
out with her
this?
once when we saw
What's
Carson
this?
Kressley, and I thought she was phenomenal with. I thought you
What
were
is
very
in
nice
this?
to the people at McMurphy's.
How big is
and
this?
She had to. That's because she's Jewish by injection, Dennis. That came out. That's only
true.
going on.
It is
comes with this?
1000% true. What is in this? So, how is this prepared? My worst question, and I don't know, Dennis, if I've been with you when I've done this, but it's like, okay, so what do you have red wine by the glass? And they'll be like, oh, well, we have Cabernet,
Yes,
Merlot,
yes, you.
blah, blah, blah. And I will always ask the question, I was like, which is the freshest? Like, which one was just opened, like today? And they always look at you like you're insane. But you know, the reality is if they have a wine that is not as popular as the other ones, sometimes they let it go a little fallow and it's just not tasty.
Fallow.
And so if you're going to spend the money
Fallow.
on wine, I want to see the freshest thing that they have. And then I'll taste like 2 or 3 of them before I commit to a fucking glass of wine.
You didn't do the tasting, but you did do the Inquisition.
About the waiter and the impression we give. And then when you get to the restaurant, he'll go, I will have the peas. No, this is how he goes. Because it's always the same order. It's got to be salad, main course, and then dessert. I will have.
Wow, what a monster.
Salad with the Roquefort dressing. He says Roquefort. I will have the salad with the Roquefort dressing. I will have.
Oh, who cares about this? All right, I'm moving on.
How many times do you think someone has spit in their food?
Oh my God. Well,
Like, I'm going to give you a 95%.
He's the quickie
their food
guy,
has
and
been
I
spit
bet you
on.
he doesn't return food. You know, it's when
Yeah,
you
no.
return
Oh, but
food,
yeah, but they're
shit.
return customers, bro. They're
They're not going to get
people
sick. They're return customers. If you get sick at a
Yeah.
restaurant that you go to all the time, you're not going back. So
Yeah.
I'm
You don't
pretty
get sick
sure.
from loogies.
Oh, gross.
You can get real
You don't.
sick from
It's
that.
gross, but you don't.
Yeah,
it's
you can.
gross.
I guarantee you,
Oh, no, hold on.
90% of their food has
Go
been
vomit
spit on.
now.
If they're lucky.
Chaka Khan wants to know, does anybody think Chris Wilding is honing his Ben Stern impersonation as we speak?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Ben
Just what you
puppet.
need is a Canadian fruit basket doing an impression of Ben Stern.
Jesus.
Hey,
With his
Chaka
butt
Khan
plug
goes.
in.
Chaka Khan goes. Xavier is such a great San Diego take on Jewish people.
Yes, that's me. I've never left San Diego. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you have no idea. You don't even have a
No.
passport, for God's sake.
You're more well traveled than all of us
at all.
combined.
I don't have a driver's license.
Rube.
Howard asked the question, did you really tell his friends that you were half black?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
Well, these were young kids that were saying derogatory things about blacks, and I didn't like it. So I told them.
Well, you would tell them
I
what
said,
you
don't talk that
No.
way.
You were driving the carpool.
I was driving the carpool.
Driving a carpool?
Yes, with a bunch of Howard's friends who were
Jews.
saying derogatory things about blacks. And I stopped the car and I said, please don't talk that way.
I bet you they used the
for
N-
her.
Black.
That's seen Edie Falco's.
She goes, I don't like those friends of yours saying those things, and I'll say what I want. You know, but meanwhile,
You want to bet they were using the N-word?
100%.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
No doubt about it.
1,000%.
Oh,
she wasn't, thinking of me. She was thinking of herself. And I remember being like, oh, I've got to go explain that she's not saying the truth.
We have on the phone Bill from Philadelphia. Bill, are you there?
Yes, I'm
Hi there. Say hi
How you
to
doing, Mr. and Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Hi, Bill.
Glad to hear from the cradle of democracy.
That's right. My
Yeah,
question,
G Canada, just so you know, Xavier is probably the most well-traveled
yeah.
out of all of us.
All of us.
Oh, he's combined.
Easily.
1 week.
Well,
Never left San Diego.
Probably not combined.
I'm
He
afraid
might
of
LA with
what's
the
east of
Clippers.
the fucking 5.
Yeah, you,
What's east of the 5?
He just follows
You've-
the Clippers around from Buffalo.
you've been on every
Exactly.
continent, right? Except for
Antarctica?
Antarctica and
G Canada never. I've never been anywhere.
no, that's true. And he's also 5'2", and he'll never tell you.
question
that.
is,
5'2", you're giving me a couple inches, bro.
Howard always
Being generous.
said he was getting his ass kicked at school. How come you guys never took him out of school and put him in a...
Howard never got his ass kicked. It's
Oh,
the
man.
Boston bubble and his bubble. But I have to tell the truth.
That's just,
Got it.
I mean, I got my ass kicked many times at school.
No, you
I
didn't.
received chokings and beatings. In fact, my mother doesn't remember. She had to go to the dean of boys. They had to have a dean of boys in
Monique, do you
my
think?
school because it was
It's
so
a good
bad.
question.
There was a guy
Miss
who was
Asher.
shaking me down for money.
I do believe there was a dean of boys and a dean of girls at every friggin'
Every
school
school
when
had
we were
that
in school.
because you had to have a
As
dean
a matter
of
of fact,
boys. And
we didn't actually have one, but I remember there were offices that said dean of boys, dean of girls.
where the hell did you
And-
go?
They
There
had
were no deans?
No, they didn't have it boys and girl, like it was all together.
Oh,
They
okay.
had combined it by that point, I think.
And he
Monique,
was
do you-
choking me.
Hey, Mo. Hey, Mo.
Yes, I'm all ears.
Someone asked a really good question. Do you think Ray knows that Ben's
What?
passed away? You think that they would actually lie to her?
That's a good question.
Good question.
On,
I don't
It's a
know
on
what.
the
really good
surface, it would
question.
seem like obvious, but if she's really like fragile, I could see them not telling her.
I don't think you can hide something like that for that
Yeah,
long.
it's
I
kinda
mean,
hard.
I know,
it's
but
been
what if
for,
she's like,
years? For God's sakes, I can't even imagine that somebody would do that.
what if she's a little bit clamped? You know,
Years. But it depends on what her capacity is right now, and we don't know
exactly,
Yeah, I don't know if
exactly. We
she
don't
makes
know
the end
that.
of the year.
But
You
I
know,
could
she
see
may
there's a
be-
scenario where she wouldn't be looped in.
that. Yes,
It's unlikely, but I think there is a scenario.
but I think everybody would be exponentially sad in front of her, and she would feel that. But I just don't know. I mean, how could we know? We didn't even know he was dead. Seriously, how could we know? Let me see. Let me see what Music Stream is saying here. I'm sure whatever Howard's friends were saying about blacks was accurate and insightful, and Ray just didn't want to hear the truth. The original woke person, she must have loved that BL. All right.
Really, really, you highlighted that.
You know what? It was just it was
What
a
are you
long,
thinking? Can we talk?
I'm
Go back
glad
to
you
talking about me
highlighted that
being a
one.
midget.
yeah, it was a lot of words, and I wasn't.
A lot of
really
words that
sure.
caught your
We're
eye, huh?
running with the shadows of the
Monique, what
night.
culture
Here's
does
a better
Xavier
way.
look the closest to?
Monique, do you think
Herbie
Ben and Ray
Valencia.
have a defamation
Herbie
lawsuit?
Valencia?
Do you
Yes.
think Ben and Ray have
Herbie
a
Valencia.
defamation lawsuit against Howard This
I get that all the time.
the defamation Howard does to his parents is way
Cheech
worse
Marin.
than Johnny Depp and Amber
They
Heard.
take it though. They
Like
take
it's they
this is
take
their
it, but
this is their
they don't want
loving baby boy.
But
They
this is why they're great parents when he gets shit like this, and they're going to rallies and speaking for him, and then hosting shit on the E channel. These
Absolutely.
are insanely top shelf A+ parents, and
Yes.
nothing less.
agreed.
And it got so bad that she had to go to the dean of
Sorry,
boys
Lynn,
and say, I
who?
couldn't take it anymore. I didn't know what to do. And this kid came after me twice.
I get
I
that
have
all the
no
time.
idea what Xavier
When he
looks
found
like.
out some white kid had complained
actor-wise.
about him. There were 3 white kids.
Benicio del
So he went
Toro.
after all
That's
3 white
annoying.
kids. I said,
Herbie
"What's
Valencia. I get that all the time. They get stopped and go, the plane, the plane. I go, yeah.
He was in
Wait,
the
hold on.
gym, in the
They
locker
threw a
room.
garbage
They
can.
threw a garbage can over there.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that could happen any place. And look, we felt at that time maybe we should have moved a little earlier. We didn't want to move because the neighborhood was changing. I didn't think it was right.
Howard says you refused to move from Roosevelt, even though you were the only white people left and black kids were beating him daily. Did you refuse to get him out of a hostile environment?
Black kids were not beating him daily.
Was he beating them daily?
He was not beating them daily.
One incident was true that when Martin Luther King was assassinated, our black friends called us and they said that I wasn't
had
home
black
at the
friends.
time, but they called my wife and said, look, I think you got to take him out of school. Right, Ray?
Absolutely. Yes.
And did you do so?
No, I didn't.
Oh, we're drinking the same
Actually, I was
water,
nervous
Ray.
about it because I was told that, riots could break out and there was a lot of anger. And that actual day was just, I remember being very nervous. And I remember my friend running out of school, white kid. And in fact, we weren't even friendly anymore. He used to be my friend. He ran out of school and I saw him toss his book bag over a big barbed wire fence and do one hop and get over it. That was his way out. And I remember looking at him going, oh, good, I'm glad he got out. I remember being very nervous about getting out of school and just getting my ass home.
And Howard.
I'm sure you did. Tiger Lily, I have absolutely no idea who I can tell you is now.
Isai Morales is great, Tiger.
I
Lily.
love
That's
that.
great. I was going to say Benicio del Toro.
So what, we're going to pass over that I'm cuter than she thought I was? Gina Bomina.
More vainglorious.
All right, let me see. Where is that? Where is
Hey,
that?
ladies, up here.
Tiger
Eyes
Lily,
up here.
I've actually felt so guilty that I've gotten up and gotten my own coffee at a diner.
Did you really?
3 times. Yep. And ice. Because I didn't want to ask him. I have imposter complex.
I'm I don't even know where I'm at yet. Okay, here we go.
Howard asked the question, did you really tell his friends that you were half black?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
No, that was
so
the
good. We
last.
had to listen to it twice.
Go to California. Christine, say hi to the Stearns.
Hi,
Mr.
Christine.
Sorry,
I'm on the
three.
cell phone right now. I hope you can hear me.
Very good.
And I think both of you are great. Every time you're on the show, I think you're just super people, super parents, and you raised a great son. I don't know your son
Thank you
personally.
very, very
He
much.
seems like a really nice man, and you seem like nice people. And what are your
See-
parenting skills when you were raising Howard and your daughter? Did you suggest that he go to school? I'm a parent of a young child. What can I?
Well, I have very, very strong ideas about parenting.
Monique, what was that caller's
I
name?
feel that parents.
What?
That caller's name?
Let's see.
Let's go to California. Christine, say hi to the Stearns.
Nah, it's not her. Never mind.
Well, I'm
I have very, very strong ideas about parenting. I feel that parents have to be parents. And by that I mean, I think a lot of parents want to be friends to their children, and that's okay to an extent. However, parents must show the way. That's the reason for parents, so that they guide their children. A lot of parents today don't do that. They're afraid to be firm and to take control, and that's their job. That's the reason for parents.
My mother would be like this. Listen, the way I...
Monique, what is your mom ranking that?
Sit down.
And you're a moron.
I told you not to be stupid, you moron.
What is that? Is this Howard exaggerating, or is that just a sign of the times?
Well, Howard was a bit of a nudnik. You know what a nudnik is?
Nudnik.
And Howard defends himself. He never gives us a chance to talk. But he was a little bit of a nudnik. And so his father had had enough. He was being particularly rambunctious that day. And that was not my
See, that
husband's
day.
mode of speaking to him. However, he had to take a very strong stance with him. And so he tried to.
He never spoke that way. Howard was
Yeah.
just being an asshole in that particular day. And this is what he clings to, this little seedling of thought from his childhood.
Yep.
And it's what allows him to spew the fucking vitriol that has come out of his mouth since his father got sick.
Yeah, no, I'm a sucker. I feel bad for them.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah. I'm a compassionate.
That means you
man.
have compassion.
I know. I'm not mean. Like when I see my dad struggling like that, I don't go, "You're a fucking moron. You stupid ass. You don't even understand anything." Well, yeah, I'm 5. Fuck what I understand what you're asking me. That's what you're here for. You're supposed to take joy in teaching me that. But if I was like him, forget it. Be like, "Where's my lunch?" Shut up, you moron. Go get your own lunch. Fucking moron.
You know, I was going to call you
Idiot.
this weekend, and I just never got around to it because I was thinking about you, and
Good thing you
you're
didn't.
saying that you should be treating them like they treated you. But
Oh, my
when
God.
you get to the bottom line of it, you love your parents, no matter what messes they were.
They weren't meant though, you fucktards.
I hate that cunt.
This is the worst smear
Can we
campaign I've ever
appreciate the
heard.
fact that this is like a 70-year-old man that still hasn't got over his childhood?
Yeah, that's pretty disturbing.
I mean, the fact that he's got grandkids that are living a childhood now, but he can't get past his.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gotten over a
put shit in perspective.
privileged, great childhood, by the way. Not just childhood, a great
But at
childhood.
the same
better
time,
than
it's like
all of
shit
ours.
that happened a fucking million years ago.
No, Dennis does not have a great press in the garage.
No,
He'd
I-
like to. He'd like to.
I have
but
cars in there. I don't have any room for the grape press. I have friends that make wine. I do have friends that make wine. That is true.
Yeah, but it's never good. Let's be honest.
No, it's delicious actually, and they make grappa.
Probably tastes
It's
a
even
little bit
better.
like grappa's like
Grappa's phenomenal.
car fuel. Jesus Christ.
I love that
That's
stuff.
like the strongest shit in the world. Yeah, the messes that your parents make.
The
Yeah,
messes.
fuck you. Fuck you. Let me just finish this clip too, real quick.
Wow.
Get him
I'm jumping
quiet
all over the
in
place.
the best way. He was really frustrated when he did that because Ben did not speak to him in that manner usually. So the big mistake that my husband made was not burning those tapes.
Should have been 18 minutes of silence.
That's right, absolutely. But Howard has played it for all it's worth. I'll tell you that.
But it's so funny, though. I think it's
It
great.
really is funny, and we take it that way. We take.
Yeah, see, they take it all in stride. This is a bitter, bitter man, ladies and gentlemen, and he doesn't take it in stride. This is you know what? It's kind of like, you all know I was in therapy for like, a couple of years at some point in a bad point of my life years ago. And shut up.
Is this before or after your therapist ran away from you?
During,
God.
fucking during.
I told-
And you tell everybody that story. I know.
No,
you
I
do.
told my therapist that story, Monique,
Oh,
because
it's
I started with a new therapist, and he gave me the rap because if I see you in public, I will politely just, I might nod and go away, but we cannot engage if I see
Exactly.
you. And he said it to me, and I told him your story. I told him your therapist threw a drink in your face and then did a tuck and roll in a New York street and ran away. He's like, she ran from her?
No, that is not the story. I was walking
Nice
my
strongman
dog.
competition.
I was walking my dog around the block, and she was having dinner at an outdoor cafe around the corner from me. And I'm like, "Hey, so and so, how are you doing?" And she just kind of averted her eyes and looked away from me. And I'm staring at her as I'm walking. I'm like, "God damn, rude fucking bitch! I should inspire her." And then
Hey,
she
Mo.
said, "You have to what, babe?"
Since we have this freeze frame here,
Yeah.
it reminded me of a picture I saw of Howard a long time ago.
Yeah,
and this is exactly who Howard. If you look at him, that looks
Ooh.
like their kid, right there. You take the hair away, that's Ben and Ray,
Oh,
right there,
totally.
with the nose,
Totally.
with that complexion.
Jesus.
He's like a fucking
That's a
monster.
sex symbol for you.
If you were to go, if we could do like
Matt
side by
Naylor.
side of them, you go, that's their fucking kid. Not the one with the fucking nose jobs and the fucking.
Yeah,
No,
he's
totally.
purely
Consistent genes.
Look at that. See? Look at them. That is their kid.
Yeah. Let me see.
Oof.
I just played. Let me hang on.
Hey, Matt from Idaho, you're on the phone.
Idaho's a wow.
Curiosity. I mean, if I put myself in Howard's shoes, I would definitely take care of my parents. And I was just curious whether he does or doesn't.
Listen,
Howard financially he looks out for you guys and giving you guys what you've given him in life. Return.
Oh, Howard is very generous to us, really and truly.
Overly generous.
And very concerned with everything.
Right.
They were terrific to me. I feel they're very loving toward me. They supported me my whole life. I love them very much.
And now I will mock
I
them.
mean, let me tell you, I have my moments of anger. I'm like, gee, this is weird. My old man who yelled at me my whole life that I'd never be able to make a living, that I'd never be able to amount to anything,
The one who just said he's
that I
proud of
couldn't
him.
even be on the radio because I'm an idiot, is now, basically completely dependent upon me because he didn't plan for his old age properly.
You who was
And I
never going to know how to do anything.
Right.
Or be
Yeah, I
able
want
to
to say,
take care of anything.
yeah, I want to go, hey, Dad. So you're such a fucking genius and I'm a moron. Why are we in this position today?
Why are you left in my hands?
Yeah, yeah. Why is Fart Man handling your medical needs? Yesterday, I'm getting a table delivered because my father keeps knocking over the kitchen table when he gets up. We keep telling him, don't put your fucking hands on the table. It had a round base. So it got a square base. Got a square base. How come Fart Man how come the idiot is good enough to get a good new table for you? How come the moron?
You're saying you're lucky to have Ashley? They're
No.
lucky they had you.
No, there's a difference. They hit the lottery with me because I'm the moron who saved up for their retirement because they were too fucking stupid to save up for their own.
No, you didn't.
Hey, Dad, maybe you should shut up and sit down. Not me.
See, such a sweet, loving, kind man, huh?
So, Mo, here's a fact that people don't realize is that Howard had to go away to school in Virginia to get his license to do broadcasting.
Yeah.
Guess who paid for him to stay in Virginia?
Gee,
and
I
paid
wonder.
for the school. It
I
was
wonder.
Ben Stern.
They paid his rent the first 3 years of his life, right? At least.
They paid for the school in Virginia. They paid for him to stay down there. He took the courses. He got his license to be able to be on the radio, and then they paid for his rent when he went to and did his first couple jobs. Yes, that's absolutely true.
And I just want to point out, ladies and gentlemen, that this is why we do shows like this. This is why I save all these clips in a little folder called Howard and his dad, so we can let it rear its ugly hatred head, so that you can see how this man, as his father is dying, is still talking about, that I have to fucking pay for everything. Fuck you, Dad.
In the clip we played from 93 and he's 14 years retired, but does he look like he's struggling? Does it look like he needed Howard's help? What's the only help Howard gives him is for his own convenience, so he doesn't have to deal with it hands-on. It's just to have this upper echelon elitist shit so he doesn't have to deal with it. It's what every other kid has to do with their aging parents. There's nothing unique about you except you're throwing money at it, so you don't actually have to do anything manually.
Right.
Well, I mean, couldn't all the venom that he spews at his dad be used, substitute Beth in there? Because he's paying for everything she's fucking doing.
Oh, God, worse, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and none of that, she could still go out and get a job at 7-Eleven,
I mean, no, Beefus cannot work at a 7-Eleven.
You know what I mean? Is she's at age, she still can. There's nothing that can physically stop her.
Well,
David has some words here. He said he found his father in everyone. Buchwald agreed to 10% in addition to, not from, his salary. K-Rock paid his FCC fines. He always depended on the kindness of strangers. Yeah, but Buchwald was really kind of like an ad hoc parent to him. So you have to remember that this is the person that he listened to and whose opinion he wanted and he needed, and he didn't find that in his father for some reason.
No,
that was all about shekels, though.
Mo, that's not true, though.
What?
Mo, that's
nothing
not true.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Ben gave him a lot of advice when he was young on the radio, and Ben was actually the guy that actually told him to use Buchwald. He actually said yes, that would be because he
And
asked
Buffalo was
Ben,
a
should I
big
use him?
radio
He was a big
agent.
radio, radio agent,
But
right?
Ben said yes, you should use this guy. He actually confided in his father to use him. So he asked his father all through K-Rock about stuff on the radio. He really did. I mean, Ben Stern did a lot for his career early on.
Of course.
And I
He
remember
held his
them
hand
talking
the whole
about it.
way.
So
The whole way. It's incredible, says Ben 4810. It's incredible no one at Sirius had the balls and decency to say lay off your parents a bit. It's too much. Yeah, nobody's gonna say anything to
No
Howard.
one's gonna see-
No, they don't.
exactly.
And nobody else is playing this shit. I just want you all to know that that's why we do these shows. Seriously, it bothers us so much that he could be this guy, this stupid fucking. I love my parents so much. I can't even
Wait till he
imagine.
comes back in October.
Oh, I can't wait.
He'll be like,
It
"Oh,
will be October.
I love
So
my
wait, Beth's
father."
principal, Bed Bath and Stables. That's where beef is to work.
Hanker for a hunk of
but
cheese
what?
is simply
What?
right. They're great. They're great people. He's the monster. It's simply put. It's exactly right. It's
That is
completely
exactly
flipped.
right. That is
Watch.
exactly right.
I'll give you the first
bullying
30
his
seconds
parents.
of him returning. Oh, I love my father, and Beth was such an angel during the whole time.
Oh, you don't even know those final
It's gonna
days.
be like fucking this
Beth
whole.
and Ashley, what angels? What just
Oh, they were just
kind,
angels.
Angel and
Oh,
a saint.
I feel so down because my dad's no longer.
I don't know that he's going to be that way.
I guarantee you, he's gonna play that off, and
He's
then
gonna
like a
play
couple of
that
days
card.
later, he'll return to the Venom.
Yes, I agree. I Let's hear what I think this is the
Ray
last.
alive. Oh my
clip from the
God.
Meet them
How
thing.
did you guys do?
We have no way of knowing, but our son will definitely straighten us out tomorrow. You can be
I'll tell you
sure.
this: no matter how good we did, I don't care if it's an earth-shaking thing. He's going to tear us apart.
But listen, we may prove to be very big competition for him.
I thought my parents were phenomenal on Meet the Sterns. A couple of things surprised me. The callers were great. They handled my parents with a lot of respect. If the callers had been brutal with my parents, I wouldn't be doing a second Meet the Sterns. So that was surprising.
Me, that his face looks really weird, like sunken in right here and here.
Yeah.
Does it look like he had some sort of something
That's his first
done?
Botox, I bet. That's his first Hamptons Botox.
Yeah.
Something's
Right?
going on. It's
You
very,
see my
very
mouth
weird.
there? I'm just curious.
Plasticky.
And
And the
uh,
penis nose job.
It was very, very good. My mother was really good. I thought they had a good chemistry. I rate the show an A+. I really do.
Oh, good for you, Howard.
Tiger Lily's got a really good point here. She writes, as usual, she writes, "Sorry, Ray, but you didn't practice what you preached. She coddled him and gave him his way in every single way, and made him. She never made him do a goddamn thing for himself. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
She didn't practice. Exactly right.
No, she babied him till he was through college.
Which she was preaching about how you can't be your kid's friend.
And probably after college, let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, way after.
You know,
But,
until Allison took over as his maternal figure. I'm sure she was, she
So-
literally passed Allison on to him.
Yes.
So Hunker for a hunk of cheese thinks that this is Marcy's doing. Marcy didn't come around till about 8 years after this. So
Yeah,
this is all Howard's thinking at this point.
Yeah.
This is
It's all
Howard's
Howard.
thinking.
It's all Howard.
He doesn't
Right.
know what to do except bully his parents. He doesn't know how to do anything.
No, he
else.
knows nothing
So
else.
he's not gonna. He's got no other moves.
Nope, that's it. So John sent me some great clips. Some of them I don't think you guys have seen, which I love. So the first one I'm going to play is, and you can talk this up. This
All
is
right, this
Gilbert
is-
roasts the Stern.
Oh, I love this.
Weird thing. So Xavier and I were talking about this, Monique. About I think we hadn't done this. We were off the air. I hate to sound like a douche when I say that, but he says like, "Who's the Jew?" He's looking at his parents, and this was it's not a roast. It was a celebration they did for it's combination Howard's birthday / the move to Sirius, and Howard TV filmed it, but it wasn't done on the radio. So they played the audio of this on the radio. So we mistook this for one of his birthday bashes, which this isn't
But
really.
it's not. It's kind of
not.
like a celebratory move.
Right. The patting him.
party.
Right. It's a / his birthday.
Okay, so here we go.
A lot of people would know.
Our next guest is one of Howard's, my favorite comedian of all time, Mr. Gilbert Gottfried.
First of all, I was invited here. I was asked to speak, and no, I didn't ask for money. Because I know, like, in 20 years from now, I'm going to be on the show, and Howard's going to be saying, oh, remember.
By the way, Beth definitely has extensions. Look how stringy and shitty her hair.
100%.
Yeah. And they're cheap extensions too.
Ugh. Ugh.
You don't have that good Peruvian hair, girl.
Exactly. That doesn't grow out to be much better and more natural as you age, sister.
Remember, he was told not to come here, and he just snuck in, and then he was demanding to be paid for it. So no, I want to get that straightened out. I like David Lee Roth. I really, to quote what Gary was saying, I have to say something different. Howard never gave me his word, and that's fine because he never did a fucking thing for me. So I'm not really, that doesn't bother me at all. And, the minute I found out he was switching to Sirius, I sent a bouquet of flowers all the time and say I'm available anytime. Now, now looking at Howard's parents here, I don't know exactly how he can say he's half Jewish. I mean, which exactly is the one that's not the Jew here? They are the definition of Chandalagoy. Simon Wiesenthal called them kikes. I mean, but really, it really, you think back on the Holocaust and you go, was it that bad an idea? I don't think so. Okay, I have to eat because I'm here for the free food.
A lot of people
look at the guinea turn his camera off, cackling in the background.
Because I'm here for the free food.
Oh, it's
I'm sorry. That is literally the most classic Gilbert you could ever do.
A lot of people would.
Absolutely. I love it.
Oh my God.
How great of parents to get agreed to be called a kike like that in front of a room. That's how great of parents. Does it get any better than that?
Simon
And he's
Wiesenthal
laughing
laughs
through it.
Beth turns to Howard
Oh
and says,
my God.
Oh, I know.
Simon Wiesenthal.
Am I the shiksa here?
Okay, so then next we have Ben and Ray at the Sirius rally.
Yeah, this is again. This is when they did the last day rally, and they got up and again. Whose parents would fucking do this for
They're
you?
great sports.
Would you-
Exactly right,
Would
Trisha.
anybody's mom and dad get up like this in a microphone and do this? I don't.
I gotta be honest, my parents would probably do that.
Your
for me.
mom would.
My
Your mom
mom,
loves you.
my mom would pick me up at 3:00 in the morning at a nightclub in the city. I mean, without question. So they would absolutely 1000% would be these parents. But I love them to death, and I would never say a bad word about either of them because they did adore me and I adore them in return. So there's nothing to fucking say other
How
than
dare you?
my
How dare
complete
you.
and utter, love for people who loved me. And he's just a cunt. I mean, let's be
Except
honest.
for Reacher.
The father, the mother, and the sister of the world's most famous moron. Put your hands together for Ray Stern, Ben Stern, and Ellen Gunk.
Yeah. We can get getting up the stairs.
This is right by my office. This was at 1410 Broadway, I think it was. They
Yeah.
did it right around the corner, and it was just right off of Bryant Park. So that's
Look at
where
the
they-
80. Look at the 83-year-old getting up the stairs.
Better than the 68-year-old.
Oh. Especially not with my
I haven't seen my brother this excited in a long time.
Long time,
He
long,
has to
long
worry
time.
every time he opens up his mouth.
Every time he
that the
opens up his
FCC
mouth.
is going to find him. FCC. And serious, he is going to have a freedom of speech, which he hasn't had in a long time.
A long
My
time.
family is so proud of all his accomplishments. And when I say all, I'm talking about how he's a wonderful father, son, brother, and uncle.
By the way, 95% of these quote-unquote super fans that are there waiting on, I think half of them is saying, I'd say about 90% of them are going, Howard is a sister? What?
But do you know how many of these people come there because it's like lunchtime or right after work? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, what's going on? Let me
And
go
he
check
takes
out
credit.
what's going on the corner here.
It's like him taking credit for the
all the fans for being loyal.
Red Car
You
series.
must be
I am Howard's father, and I'm here as a fan. I wish to thank him for all the past years of entertainment he produced. I'm sure it will continue in his new endeavor. It's gratifying to see the effort his fans made to get here. And finally, I close with my words of wisdom. Don't be
John, is that you?
Conversations with me
I know, right?
are always about how much he wants to make the show a success and how much effort he is giving to make it happen. Howard, my wish for you is that you will be granted this desire, and with the continued love and support of all of us, it will happen. Howard, I love you. I'm very proud of you. And keep going.
You right?
Scott the engineer.
Lame sex jokes.
Come
We all
to
have
see
to
it.
come to see. I get it.
That's 69, dude. Get it?
That's Principal, Flo, Vera, and Ellen.
Look at that gaggle of Neanderthals taking up Midtown.
So stupid. All right, this is Ben and Ray sing Howard a song.
They record, they pre-record a song written by Howard TV, I believe, and they write him a bunch of lyrics and they read.
Comedy
And the
gold
fun is
right
they
here.
fuck it up, and it's right. It's bloopers, and they fuck it up and looking at each other. It's cute though. I mean, again, your parents
It's
would never
so
do
true.
this.
Ray
My parents
was taking it totally seriously, as if, you know, it was just like a silly little cute thing. Yes, I have a picture of the last time Howard was on, what show was that?
Letterman.
Stephen Colbert.
Oh, it was Colbert?
It was Colbert at this point. Yeah, it was only like
Was
5
that
years
Mary
ago.
Ann, Monique?
Oh, Jesus.
Remember? And there
It
was
was
like maybe
8
7
people
people
out there.
outside,
Yeah.
and 6 of them had books for him to sign so that they could sell them. That's basically what it was.
Howard's sister insisted they do it from the Belmore Library, guys, but the dicks are on.
Exactly.
Nah.
My cousin
Inside
Stacy.
joke, inside joke there. Okay, here we go.
Hi, I'm Ray Stern, Howard's mom.
I'm Ben Stern, and as you can guess, I'm his father.
We're going to do a little song for you, Howard, for your birthday.
I will help you. Oh, sorry.
Hi, Howard. This is your birthday, and this is your mommy.
This is your mother.
And I'm going to do a song for you. I hope you like it. Happy birthday.
And as you can guess, I'm your father, Ben Stern.
Comedy gold.
Hi, Howard. This is your mommy.
Hi, yeah,
Ray
everybody-
Stern.
What's the name of that painting?
American Gothic.
American Gothic. That actually, what I just learned about American Gothic is that, in fact, is not a husband and wife. That is
Brother and
a
sister?
father and a daughter.
That's father and a daughter?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oofa.
American Gothic is father and daughter, and I didn't
So
know that.
hot.
Yeah, I was
Ooh.
several days old when I learned that.
See, he said you should say hi. I'm Ray Stern, just because there's a lot of people
Oh, okay.
there.
Hi, I'm Ray Stern, Howard's mommy, and I'm going to do a song for him for his birthday, an original. I hope you like it, Howard.
And I'm Ben Stern. I'm Howard's father, and I'm very happy to sing a song for you too. Howard Stern, you are our son.
Howie, Howie, how?
Look at all the things you've done.
He's a big shot now.
You see the paper?
Howard Stern, you are our son, and we are so proud.
Okay, let's do the first. All right, yell roll.
What are we doing?
You're ready to go. We'll start from the top, and then we'll stop. Then we'll do version 2. Got it? Howard Stern, you are our son.
Howie, Howie, how?
Look at all the things you've done.
He's a big shot now.
You were a moron then. You're a genius now.
Happy birthday, son.
My line.
Oh.
Just say go.
Okay.
Dope. Here.
Howard Stern, you are our son.
Howie, Howie, How.
Look at all the things you've done.
He's a big shot now.
And go. Okay.
You are a moron. You are a moron then. You're a genius now. Happy birthday, son. Now shut up and sit down. Howard Stern, you are our son, and we are so proud.
We
Okay, I think we get it.
And for that we take a bow.
Oh, Jesus, fuck.
This must be what it's like to piss class.
Tiger Lily has a good point here again. This man is so lucky for the time and the place he's born in. He keeps stepping in shit. If he was starting his career today, Howard wouldn't have any days like these to be lost in the sea of podcasts. Couldn't agree more. Could you imagine packaging this current show and selling it to a podcast company?
No.
It was really annoying.
Jesus,
I
that
didn't
was horrible.
realize how bad that absolutely fucking was.
It was pretty terrible.
Holy
Yeah, I actually
They wrote
I actually
that.
do have the American Gothic.
What? Oh, there it is. That's amazing. That's amazing. High number.
I like that too.
They are the epitome of enthusiastic, overly supportive Jewish parents. They
Yep.
probably went to all of Howard's goofy puppet shows and silly little basement concert. Oh my God, absolutely. I have the black and white film of Howard as a child. I don't know who grabbed it. Maybe it was Benjamin back in the day. And yeah, it shows all his, stupid puppet shows for like people that are like kids that are sitting there and just like, and how to play with these stupid things. But, it just goes to show, Ben and Ray gave them and their kids absolutely everything
Shane.
that they did not have. And you're welcome, Shane. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you. And it just shows you that, Ben was good people to his son. And the fact that he has this bizarre wig visionist history, as we like to call it, is actually sad. And so just know, our dear Gunker friends, today on Thursday, August 18th, that when he does come back to work and he is
Whenever that is.
remorseful and
October.
whatever it is that he makes seem like his malaise at his father dying, this is who this man really is. This is absolutely who he is, a hateful monster.
It's not I didn't know I'd grow up, and I'm an old man, and I didn't realize I have to save up not for my old age, for their old age. and
Save up.
it's like I have two infants, everything. They don't do anything. They need babysitters. It's crazy. I'm telling you, man.
Is there no joy in Mudville?
And then I get crazy. I go, well, if there was justice, my parents stuck me in a community where I got the shit beaten out of me every day. I should stick them in one of those fucking homes where find the worst one and let them sit there and say, here you go. Now you'll go through what I went through. My dad used to be vicious to me. As a little boy, I didn't understand stuff. So if I asked him a question, you're stupid, you're a moron. What kind of moron are you, you dope? And I feel like going and saying to him, but I'm not mean, I'm a good guy. Like my father now doesn't understand anything. I should just sit there and go, you're a fucking idiot. You're a moron. The people attacking me in my room. You're an idiot, you stupid ass. Don't you see there's nobody here, you dummy? I need a psychiatrist. Here's my fist. That's a psychiatrist. That's what my father used to say to me.
Asshole.
This is the very definition of defamation. It truly is. They have a defamation lawsuit on their hands. It's the complete opposite of who they are. They couldn't be misrepresented worse.
It's actually even worse. It's a definition of a sociopath.
Oh,
Literally, an utter and absolute sociopath.
And is he going for comedy here?
No, he isn't.
Martyrdom or sympathy? What is this?
Martyrdom.
What do you want us to do with this?
We don't know. We don't know what we're supposed to do with this.
He wants to feel like the victim. Always does. Wants to
And
be
that
the
he's
victim.
saving up for this.
Yep.
Saving up.
In the old days, he'd get actual phone calls of pushback from fans going, "What? What's this?
No,
what are you
no more
talking
phone
about?"
calls.
Now you
No,
can't
that
do that
doesn't
anymore.
happen.
Right. Well, that's
I
one of the many
remember-
things wrong with this show.
See, I remember his mom calling up in the 90s going, Howard, you're making up lies.
Yes,
that never
she would
happened.
dispel everything.
Always.
Yes.
That's
Always
not the
there.
way it went.
I get it.
This is Howard speaking for the record so that his last audience, scant as it is, knows his version of the story and that it is the last word on his relationship
That's
with
a
them.
great
That's what I'm saying. It'll be
thought,
very
David.
interesting to see how he kind of swirls this around to be something else when he comes back. Who knows which Howard 3.0 might come back, on air.
Well, David's got a great point, Mike. This is for the McAfee virus crowd. He's
Yes.
right. He's spinning a new. Right, as Dennis. Go ahead, Dennis. I'm sorry.
Well, no, David, with his 140 years of experience, truly nails that down.
He goes way back, yeah.
He goes way back with it. He knows. No, you're
got
right.
the wisdom
you're
of
right,
Solomon.
John. Though you're right.
I mean-
it's literally setting it up so now the story is going to be his, and that this is going to be the way it really was because he hides all the truth. And
You remember when Dennis? Remember when Charlize Theron came on and she's like a newish fan?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I love when you impersonate your parents." That's who he's going for now.
Yes.
That's who he's trying to shuck and jive.
And then he
Keep in
and then he went.
mind,
Hang on.
keep
to
in
her,
mind when he comes back, he's got what? He's gonna be back for what? Total of 6 weeks or something like that.
6 weeks, yeah, about 6 weeks.
Yeah, some give or take. So he's got whatever he does, he's got to be able to milk for those 6 weeks or whatever it is.
18 shows. The 18
Yeah,
shows.
something like that.
He
Because I
doesn't
mean,
deserve any
November he
buzz.
won't do dick. October will be his longest stretch.
Mhm.
December he'll barely be there.
Right. He's going to do less than 90 shows this year. So yeah.
And then he'll come back in February.
Buzz and Ben Stern. He doesn't deserve any of that, like rumbling. What's he gonna say when he comes back? Nothing.
Oh, that's right, Gunga Din. Let's remember that a cat that Beefus had for a couple years, Grogu, dropped dead, and there was like this ridiculous post on Stupid Graham about the cat that died.
Yeah,
I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and like
Here's the
memorial.
2021 calendar, just so we can go back and reflect.
Let's go to the calendar.
Oh, we don't have one. We don't have one for
We don't
August.
have a new one. We need a new one. But
Is it already September down there?
So here we are on August 18th. This is last year's. So he's got 1, 2, probably like 3 weeks left. And then last year he was back on the 7th and the 8th.
I don't think so.
And then had that bullshit.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen this year.
That's not going to
on
happen
the
this year.
9th. And then he had
I think the
9, 10,
14th is what we're aiming for now. Maybe.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Take your time. Take your time.
30. So 33 shows according to this, but who knows if that's true?
Who knows? Who knows what it is?
Not anymore.
Who knows? So does anybody
It'll
want
be in
to
the
have a
20s
little?
at the most.
Anybody want to have a little whiskers moment before we
Yes, let's have
shut
some
up
whiskers.
for the moment? All right. So I don't know where Whiskers gets his shit from.
It's a very reliable source.
I just know
Very reliable.
it does. So let's listen to Whiskers.
Tickle
And
my ass with a
Whiskers,
feather.
Whiskers has decided to show himself now and actually be a public
Oh,
figure. So he kind of got together a little bit with Reacher, who produces these things, which is like, look the
He
way
does.
do. And he came up with this. So let me just make sure the volume is okay on this. And let's listen to what Whiskers has to say.
Meow. Hey Mo, how's it going? How's everybody doing in RadioGunk land? Whoever that crappy website is. Well, I'm back in the clink again. This is my one phone call. And rather than use it to call bail bondsmen, which all of them won't allow me to use their services due to lack of credit, apparently. Total cat racist, if you ask me. Anyway, I'm in the clink with this dude who apparently is a elite, and he told me that a certain shock jock apparently OCD is totally and completely out of control, and that he won't leave his house for anything. Like it's not shtick. The dude is really like Howard Hughes, without the money and without the good-looking wife. He's completely afraid to leave the house. Apparently, he's just a recluse at this point, and all he does is paint. questionably, if you ask me. Whatever. You see that shitty cover? Talk about Photoshop du jour. Anyway, this shock jock is legit scared of COVID. He even made his friend Jimmy and his family take 3 tests before they could hang out last month. Anyway, gotta go. People are dropping soap in the shower. You know how that thing works in jail. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
Oh my fucking god! I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Those teeth. Oh god. Okay.
Chiclets. Cat chiclets.
Okay. So
Let me ask you a question. So there was some. I think it was Judy Tenunu, or it could have been Kay Tate in one of the threads. I want to, you guys. Dennis is Lou Dobbs, so I want to. Because Beth obviously isn't writing anything about Ben Stern on her Instagram.
No,
but she
no.
must consistently write about cats, and that is because these guys say she has to produce a paper trail so they can write off everything. So if she consistently posts on Instagram,
Right.
it gives them an excuse to write every single thing off that they do.
Right.
No matter what it
They can
is.
push the
Private
expenses,
jets.
yeah.
Right,
If-
right. I didn't realize that was
if we can digest the information, it is apparently apparent to everybody who's around Stern that he's not gonna ever leave his house again.
He
The
is
dude-
Howard Hughes.
He is
without the intelligence.
100% terrified of catching COVID, and the people that have been around him say that all he does is just fake paint all day. He doesn't do dick, and which leads us to the whole what's going to happen once someone tells him he has to go back to the studio, because it's apparent he's never going to come back. And per the source, this has nothing to do with his show. He is legitimately just frozen at home, and it's interesting to see how he's now just digressed into that Howard Hughes stereotype.
Well, while
Well, we
we're
knew
at
it was-
it, and let's have a little discussion about it, and let me share the screen really quickly. I was going to do a little separate thing on it, but now that we're here, fuck it. So this was an interesting thing that was posted on Reddit the other day, and then somebody threw it onto our site. Says Howard is done. Report out of Sirius is that Howard is retiring. Will be announced the week after Labor Day. Crew will do a show and a lot of best of. Not sure if that means he won't say goodbye or if there will be limited shows. The
Please be
end
true.
has come. So
Please be true. I'm so
many
ready.
people
Please, dear God, be
decided
true.
no, he would never leave money on the table, that he would never
He'd
do
have paid
that.
out.
It doesn't seem like him.
How does
No.
this work? How is what this is? Think about what this show is. It's whatever he wants it to be. He has no performance clause. He's no account. He doesn't even have to have guests at this point. You can't whittle the show down to nothing more than he has. There's no news. It doesn't have to be live.
It's a carcass at this point.
That's pretty good. A carcass.
John, the thing is, to that point, he could probably just run best of because they already paid him for his previous work in the previous contracts.
Right.
Who could say that he just rides the rest of his contract out by using best of?
Right. I mean, it's probably written in. I'm sure Buckwald's got the language in there. Whatever you want to call it, golden shower, parachute thing he might have to get
Golden
out
shower.
as he wants.
Golden shower. He'd like that.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, and it just harkens back to something else that happened to have happened in the course of the last, I don't know, month or so, which was this little thing, and we never really discussed this about on-air host Howard Stern, and this was a ad that they had placed. Sirius XM and Pandora have joined together to create a little position summary: host and develop an entertaining daily morning
show
that incorporates news, music, current events, and pop culture. conduct studio and telephone interviews with guests and listeners, collaborate with producers, co-hosts, and associate producers to generate interesting show topics and schedule guests that will create lively dialogue that engages the interest of the audience. Write monologues and program topic bullet points to establish and reset the topic each hour for listeners. Articulate viewpoints and personal experiences in a manner that helps the audience feel personal connection to the content. Blah, 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 blah. Supervisory responsibilities, none. Minimum qualifications, bachelor degree or equivalent experience. Must be an excellent communicator, strong in-air presence and voice with impeccable phone skills, strong interest in events and pop culture as related to assigned channel programs. So it's kind of curious that they would have this on-air host Howard Stern. And what the hell does that mean?
I don't know. Why?
Where
was this found initially,
I just
Monique?
read this the other day. What?
Where was this initially seen? And I remember when this was posted, but where was it actually seen? Like, what was
Is it on their website? It's on their website,
it's
right?
on
For their
Sirius's
jobs.
website?
It's on, if you Google Sirius on-air host, it's one of the things that comes up. It's on like one of the search
Bizarre
sites.
thing to just have floating out there
So
in the ether.
my question is, has Opie applied for it yet?
Exactly. Like he could get the job. It is a dopey way. I don't even know that
And
it's necessarily a Howard replacement. It's on-air host Howard Stern. You know, maybe
What,
it's
a
something.
morning show?
I don't know. It's very weird to me. Maybe
He doesn't
he's
like
gonna
any
start,
other morning shows.
maybe he's gonna start not waking up in the fucking morning. Maybe he's gonna do a show at 3:00 in the afternoon nowadays.
He'll do nothing to cultivate it. He'll kill any guy that's talented or is a threat.
Yeah,
he
I
won't let
mean,
anybody fill
honestly.
in for him, unlike Jimmy Kimmel, who has a guest host every fucking week during the summer. So it's not like he's going to do anything to cultivate a new host to make the person get acclimated in any way, shape, or form. I don't even know. You know, he's his own worst enemy in that sense.
Rupert Pumpkin. It's also in a note in there that must send staff popcorn tins for Christmas.
Yes, exactly. Mental note. Yeah, so it's interesting. Will Howard retire? Will he not retire? Is what somebody said on Reddit true? I would
I
say
so
that
want that to be true.
if
I so want
300
that.
people replied, I would have to say more than 3/4 of them said that is absolute bullshit. He would never leave money on the table. Like some people are saying in the commentary here, you know, maybe they're forcing his hand. I don't know if any of this is true. I have reached out to many, many people and nobody has heard boo about this.
Really?
So I'm not necessarily sure how true it is. It's an interesting theory. I would love to talk about it further on another show, just not tonight. But it is something, it is some food for thought, and we should talk about it for sure.
I wonder if Bubba applied.
I doubt that.
Well, I mean, like it's got to be a name, right? But it can't be a threat. That like, what is their criteria? I mean, we had a show, Monique, very underrated. We did a Square Table show where we basically went after Howard's replacements, and I threw names out like Alec Baldwin and Bill Maher and
Well,
Chris
he
Rock
shot his chance.
and people like there's so what is their they save a ton of money. I mean, he's going to get paid no matter what, but just in terms of,
Oh,
I don't know what their
they'll save so much money getting anybody else in there. Anybody would do that job happily for $1 million a year.
Oh, I know.
Happily.
Well,
So,
I mean,
who could they get? Who is a
you know
personality
who?
that
Do you
is
know
on
who?
video?
This is totally like out of left field. But Conan O'Brien, have you seen his latest podcast now?
No.
It's a video component now.
Yeah,
It's like
Sirius
he's
Sirius
got
already
his-
signed him, X.
yeah, exactly.
Ah.
So he's been signed. and
That's
if,
pretty
if
good
you
deal.
look up Conan O'Brien over the last month or so, he does an actual show where he's sitting at a table. Like he just had Audrey Plaza recently, but he has like real, like, you know, legitimate guests, and he sits there with his assistant and the other producer, and they sit there and they
Well,
shoot the shit,
that's
and
a
there's
really
no
good thought
reason.
because I couldn't for the life of me figure out why Sirius needs to hemorrhage money at Conan when he was already doing his own podcast. Like, what did they need him for?
They
You know what I'm
didn't.
saying?
They
Unless
didn't.
maybe he's replacing someone.
I think I mean, if I was a serious person, you know, and like you have a guy that is refusing to come in, and then now you have Conan's stuff. Fuck it, just slip.
I
You
don't
know,
think that there is really a replacement. You know, it's
no, it's not a replacement. It's not a replacement per se,
replacement
because that
for-
format's dead. The morning stuff is dead.
Something in the morning.
Oh, I agree. I think the morning thing is completely
completely dead.
Like
And
what?
it doesn't.
What defines drive time anymore? You,
I don't know.
you
I
listen
don't know.
to fucking
But
sports.
if you really think about it,
like
Mo,
Jim Rome and shit like that. You know, other people listen to just the latest news and weather and traffic. I mean,
Exactly.
is there really a necessity
No,
for
that's just
that
done.
full morning
That's just
show?
done. That's a
Well, how
wrap on
about
that
Limbaugh,
format.
Monique? He was on from 12 to 3.
Yeah, he was
and
the
and he's the
afternoon,
most
yeah.
That's what
successful
I'm
cat.
saying. Is
Right.
this a
I agree with
morning
you.
replacement? Is this
Completely
something where
antiquated.
Howard decides now, fuck it, I'm
Okay,
just
Mo,
going to do an hour in
Mo,
the afternoon sometime?
Mo. If you
Right
think
here.
of Mo,
I'm
if you
right
think about
here.
this, okay, let me know when I can talk. Okay, cool. If you think about it, Conan has been doing his podcast now for roughly about 5 years ish, give or take. You think, well, how does his catalog that they just purchased compare to 40 something years of Howard? If you listen to Howard, they only play a couple of years worth of shit now.
Yeah.
They don't.
They're not.
They're never going to play Artie again. They're never going to play Jackie again. They're never going to play any of the Channel 9 audio bits again. It is literally like Lady Gaga is the fucking genesis of that forward is what this show is now.
But
That's
why wouldn't
so-
it be somebody like Sal and Richard or
No.
no,
Gary?
no one's gonna do that.
No.
You know what?
Nope.
They might give them like a little thing, but like on a but not a whole
Introducing
channel.
best loves.
There's no way. There's no way.
They're obsessed
And
with names,
once again,
Monique. They're
the
obsessed with name
morning
brands.
format is dead. It's dead.
I
It's
agree.
like
I agree.
fucking. It's like Tower Records and fucking Sam Goodies. It's dead. Howard is
Hey,
the
Fudsicle, you know, Jim Norton and Sam Roberts are Buckwald clients. I'm not. They're not by any means. They're lucky they got re-signed. But the only reason they did get re-signed is because they're Buckwald clients. A lot of people don't know that.
Well,
Yeah.
it's food for thought, certainly, and something that we should talk about further if we hear anything about it. And certainly, if I
Yeah.
hear anything about it, we'll do it as like a little news segment and kind of figure it out. But, you know, unfortunately, we still have another probably 4 weeks before Howard is back on air.
Exactly.
At least.
So we'll just see if anything changes
Stuttering John.
until then. So I am going to wrap this up. It is 10:40 now. I have to go walk some puppies. And
Monique, before
yes,
when we get off, I got to ask you something. I saw a connection. You in the Kevin Bacon game. You know everybody. So when we get off, I got to ask you about a connection you have.
okay, we'll come back to that. So, guys, everybody here, thank you so
Circle
much for paying attention to us today and listening to our version of what Ben Stern was and the reality of what Howard Stern was to Ben. And you know what? We can talk about it so we're blue in the face, but you know, there's no denying the words that came out of his mouth. And we are here to have that conversation and to understand why he does the shit that he does.
And everybody Deppening tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sarah's sitting in the whole time.
Deppening tomorrow, 8 p.m.
Except for Stern.
Awesome, guys. All right. So good night, everybody. And we will see you anon. Hey guys, thanks for hanging with us tonight. Please join us for any further discussion at RadioGunk.com in the forum section. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RadioGunk. And don't forget to like this and subscribe to us and hit that little bell so you know when we're doing a new show. Thanks.